So, how's it, guys? So, today I'll be preparing some melting moment biscuits. Some call it Viennese biscuits or melting moment biscuits, but that's exactly what I'll be preparing. So, let's just get into this right away. So, right here I have 500 grams of butter. It's at room temperature, so it's fairly soft. I just want to press into it and you can see. So, it's really fairly soft. It's not too hard and also not too soft. And then we have here a cup and a quarter of icing sugar. It's up to you, entirely up to you, depending on how sweet you want your cookies to be. You can either use a cup or a cup and slightly a quarter of a cup measurement. And then I've also got a half a cup of corn flour. Some know it as mazena here in South Africa. Yes, and then I have 4 cups of cake flour that I'll also be adding in. And then I've also got a half a cup of cooking oil or sunflower oil, ordinary oil. My electric mixer, as well as my piping bag. Some people use biscuit cutters, all sorts of things, but as long as you get the desired shape that you're looking for when you're baking. And then I've also prepared some baking trays that I've lined with a baking paper. So let me get in right away. So we'll just start off by adding or combining the 500 grams of butter with my half a cup of cooking oil, sunflower oil. Here we go. And then I'll just add to that the icing sugar. So you have to really be careful not to make too much of a mess here, especially with the just go really slowly, not too wild, because you can really make a mess, when you're working with icing sugar. So it's important that you really go really gently to avoid making a mess. So we'll beat this for about 6 to 8 minutes. So not to forget, you still need to add a teaspoon of vanilla essence or a vanilla pod, depending on what you prefer to use. I prefer using a vanilla pod. And then you would just resume your 6 to 8 minutes of beating. Okay. I just forgot to add that. So these cookies are really, really tasty. They're very, very simple to make. However, with the technique, at times it does take a while for you to just, but we'll get to the piping later on. As soon as you start getting the hang of piping, making cookies become a breeze, and you'll enjoy making them because they are way much quicker than using cookie cutters and so forth. So nowadays I just prefer making these kind of cookies, and then what you can also do is just go in with your spatula, and then you just scrape around the sides of the baking bowl, your mixing bowl, just so that you can try and get all the ingredients into the center. There you go. Yummy. It already smells really good. And just continue with the 6 to 8 minutes. So, and then what you do is you add the rest of the flour. And just mix everything thoroughly through. Until your cookie dough is soft and fluffy, and you're able to pipe it through the piping bag. So remember not to make it too hard, not to add too much flour. 4 cups, using a measuring cup You know, I always prefer to use an actual measuring cup and not a coffee mug or a cup, just to ensure that you have the proper measurements so that you can obtain the right and the proper results. So what I've decided to do is to add another quarter cup of flour. This is the actual cup measurement that I use, the measuring cup that I use to measure my 4 cups to add into the butter. However, it is still slightly soft, and so I want my biscuits to come out firm, and I want the ridges to be nice and brown and golden. So to ensure that, I'm just adding a little bit more of cake flour so that the biscuits don't look, you know, shapeless or flappy or floppy. That's what you call it. But also ensuring that it is still you know, pipeable, if that word does even exist. So it should still be able to go through the piping bag fairly smoothly. So I think this should just work. Make sure that you've mixed everything through and thoroughly, ensuring that there are no flour clots or clots of flour here, you know. Here we go. So now that you have this nice and smooth cookie dough, remember these cookies are not going to be rolled out, so you don't want them any firmer. If you did want them slightly, if ever you wanted to roll out your cookies and you wanted to use cookie cutters, you'd probably just add another cup of flour to this cookie dough, and then you'd be able to roll out your flour and then start cutting out your cookies. However, I've chosen to use, and I've opted to use this method, and I'm going to fill up my piping bag. So here I have my nozzle. This is a fairly large nozzle, and this is perfect for piping cookies. Okay. And this is what we're going to do. Okay. So let's make a little space in there, and I'll start filling up my cookie dough into the piping bag. And so now I've filled up my piping bag, and so I just want to do a couple of biscuits just to do a trial. So piping is really not that bad. It just needs you to get a rhythm, you know, so you can just go into little round circles. I remember, you know, when I started with this journey, I struggled so much. So in the beginning, I always, you know, recommend that you do the straight little line. Let me show you that method, you know, where you just do something like that, like a strip. You can't go wrong with that, you see. So it's important that the batter, the cookie dough is fairly soft, but it has to be just the perfect balance, so that it's not too hard, not too firm, because then otherwise you won't be able to get the dough through the nozzle. And then look at those pretty little shapes that I've also made there, you know. So I just move in a circular motion. Here we go. Just keep enough space in between all of them, just round like that. Go. And this outer center, outer circle, and then inward, and then you just stop it right there. There you go. And you just start making as many as you can in there. And then what you would do is, for decoration, normally these, you know, the long ones, the long little biscuit ones, I usually use chocolate. I'll melt some chocolate, and then I'll dip the ends, both ends or just the one end, in some chocolate, melted chocolate. As for these, today I've just opted to make a few with some, you know, because these are for kids, so I'm going to make a couple just pretty little cookies, you know, and make them really pretty. You can even make a business, you know, start a business making these, and it's all about packaging, you know, how well you package your things. Yeah. And then you would have had your oven preheated on 180 degrees. You'll pop these lovely babies into the oven for a good 12 to 15 minutes, depending. You just need to keep looking through the window to see if your cookies are the desired color you'd like them to be, because I usually like mine golden brown. There we go, right there in the center. Otherwise, maybe we should just go ahead like that. Sprinkle a few like that. So there we go. We have a little tray of cookies. Yeah, I'm going to pop these babies right into the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to place these into the oven now and remove the others from the oven. They should be ready by now and hopefully golden brown. They didn't come up too bad at all. Let me place this into the oven. There we go, voila. You see? Golden brown, some of them around the edges, slightly burned, well not burned, but some more golden than others. So yeah, there we go, and there we have our sweet little treats, our melting moment biscuits. So next time I'll show you how to package them, and then you can even start a little business and how to package them really cute. And yeah, maybe about 50 biscuits, and you can even sell them for a good price and make some money out of it too. Make money out of your hobby. All right, thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you. Bye-bye.